Welcome back. It's been a while since we sat down and shared a cup of coffee and talked. I think it's about time for everyone to meet that person sitting across the campfire. That individual that's been quietly waiting in the wings for his turn to lead this organization. Now, if you don't know by now, the Sons of the American Legion has a new national commander, Greg Doc Gibbs from the Detachment of New York. Come on over here where you belong, Commander Gibbs. It's great to have you here. Pull up a seat.
Welcome.
Welcome to this side of the campfire. Coffee?
Thank you. Yeah, don't mind if I do.
There you go. Be careful.
Thank you.
It's hot. You know, I've noticed that, as most people have, that you prefer to be called Doc. You know, of course, when we're not addressing you properly as National Commander Gibbs. Out here, we refer to our local veterinarian as Doc, and I'm guessing that's not the case with you.
Yeah, I'm not involved in veterinary science, that's for sure. But I do have a PhD in administration from the State University of New York at Buffalo, and I taught administration to the university students for about 14 years.
Definitely a background that will come in handy as National Commander. Tell us a little bit about Doc Gibbs. Married? Family? I can call you Doc, right? Or would you prefer Mr. Commander?
No, Doc is just fine. Well, I've been married to my lovely wife Pam for 46 years now.
Perfect.
And we have 2 children, Kristen, who's 39, she's a radio disc jockey, and my son, who graduated from seminary down in Louisville, Kentucky, and he now lives in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and is married, and he's 31.
And all American Legion family members, I would imagine.
Yes, they are.
Absolutely great. I mentioned earlier in your introduction that you was from New York, and out here, at least a lot of us country bumpkins, we think about New York, all we think about is New York City, but I don't think that's the case.
No, we're about 8 hours from New York City, I guess. We're right near the Canadian border, actually really close to Niagara Falls, just south of Buffalo, New York.
Very nice, very nice. Let's talk a little bit how you became a Sons of the American Legion member, specifically, your heritage. And I understand that it is an interesting, easier for me to say than I guess you. It is an interesting heritage that you have, if I remember right.
Well, yeah, I guess it is. My dad and his 2 older brothers all joined the Marine Corps the day after Pearl Harbor. And that really began our heritage of service to our country and my involvement in the Legion family.
And the way I understood it, your dad was a young man, not quite even maybe old enough to belong.
He was. We found out after he passed away, actually, from his enlistment papers, that he lied about his age. Of course, with his 2 older brothers both joining, I guess it just seemed like the right thing to do for the family at that time. By the time they figured out he was underage, he was already in the Pacific Theater.
What an amazing heritage. You, like many of us, joined to honor that heritage, our legacy, if you will. Were there any other events that influenced you to become a member of the Sons of the American Legion?
Yeah, there was. Back in the 80s, we had our house painted by a gentleman, and he was there all week long painting the house. And when he came inside, he noticed the picture of my dad in his Marine Corps uniform in our dining room. And he said, "Is that your dad? Did he serve in World War II?" I said, yeah, he did. We started to talk a little bit about World War II and the stories. He said, "Well, you're eligible to become an American Legion family member." And I really didn't know much about it. Well, he told me about the American Legion family every single day that he was painting our house. And by the time he was done, a week later, I got handed a membership application, and I decided to step up and join the American Legion.
I think I've heard you talk about a spoon or something that maybe it helped you influence that. That's a story that maybe you come back and share with us sometime. I'd love to hear that whole story about the spoon, and I'm sure our folks out there would love to hear that story too. Now, I believe that your theme for this year has something to do with our heritage or our legacy. Could you explain a little bit about what your theme is and how we fit into that?
Certainly. We selected it as a theme this year, honoring the past and continuing the legacy. Basically because we as Sons members know that we are the living legacy of our family service to our country. But I don't think enough people on the outside really understand what service to our country and what family sacrifice really means. So we're going to focus on that, getting the word out, reminding people that the level of sacrifice for those that serve our country is great.
Absolutely. We are proud possessors of a priceless heritage.
Indeed.
You know, this is kind of an important year for the American Legion, and I think they have an interesting theme also this year. Can you tell us just a bit about their theme and how we fit into that theme?
Sure. The Legion Commander, Brett Reistad from the Department of Virginia, set his motto as celebrating the legacy, and he also has his secondary thing is Team 100 for the 100 years. So his goal again is to celebrate that 100 years of service that the American Legion has given to help veterans, families, and military that are serving. And it fits again right in with our son's motto of this whole legacy thing is we are the legacy. Yes, we're celebrating it. Yes, tooting our own horn a bit. But again, it's just to get the word out, to have people get a better understanding of how great the American Legion is as an organization and how it has really served our country this past 100 years.
Yes, sir. 100 years, quite an accomplishment for any organization, and you know, I wish the American Legion the best of luck for 200 and 300 and 400 years. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself there with going down the road, but I wish them the best of luck and congratulate them on their 100 years. You know, any big plans for your year? Special projects, programs that maybe our members can get involved with?
Sure. We're going to focus on the Child Welfare Fund, like we have in the past. We're almost nearing the $8 million mark in donations, and we hope that this year we will actually hit that $8 million mark for the Child Welfare Fund. And we're also going to support the National Emergency Fund, which is a fund that helps our own Legion family members in times of national disaster when perhaps their house or their post is wiped out due to a hurricane or a flood or a tornado or something like that. And we've had a lot of use for that this past year, so we're going to try to support that again. And one more item that I'm going to focus on this year is we're going to take a look at our members in the Sons of the American Legion that are between the ages of 20 and 30. We have quite a few. We're very proud of them, but we just don't see them as much as we feel we should, and they're not as involved in our leadership as much as we'd like them to be. So we're going to try to reach out to that group and see what we can do to get them more involved with our organization.
All great programs, and the neat thing about that is 100% of your money that's donated to the Little American Legion program stay within that program. There's no overhead cost associated with funding those programs or administrating them. So, you know, Commander, great to have you stop by on this side of the fire for a change, where you belong, out here in the spotlight. You know, appreciate you coming by and spending a little time with us and sharing some of your insight about our great organization. And anytime you're in the area, feel free to stop on back. We'll light up the campfire, put on a pot of coffee, and we'll have a little conversation. Thanks for stopping by.
Sounds great.
And looking forward to having you back again.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.